Okay, so let's go through and take a quick review of how to plot points on the Cartesian plane. Um, First off, sometimes you hear it called a coordinate plane. Um, you've got your x-axis that's horizontal and your y-axis, which is vertical, and that's two of the facts that I've got listed for us here. So that kind of takes these two parts off. The x-axis always runs left to right. The y-axis always runs up and down. Um, this point right here, point A, that's a special spot that you should be aware is called the origin. Also, you should know that its coordinates for that point is 0, 0. And what do we talk about on those points? Well, we'll get to that on the next page when we actually review what the ordered pairs are, the coordinates for each point that's plotted. It comes in an XY pairing. The X comes before the Y. If you remember that, just remember your ABCs. X comes before Y, right? It's alphabetical, so just think of the alphabet song that you learned. The main thing I want to hit on this page, though, is the quadrants. The first quadrant is in the top right corner, and that's where you start with. It's usually represented with a Roman numeral 1, but if you're a little rusty with those, how about you just use the number 1? So that is quadrant 1. My highlighter went a little bit over to quadrant 2, you see. So here's quadrant 2. You just start counting counterclockwise. 1, 2, here's 3 coming in pink. So here's quadrant 3, okay? And then quadrant 4 is down here in the bottom right corner. So you should be able to identify the 4 quadrants. Now, sometimes when we have a Cartesian plane, we show all 4 quadrants. So here's quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Sometimes, though, we don't show all 4 quadrants. Sometimes we just show the first quadrant and we ignore the others. Quadrant 1 is used a lot of times with real life plotting of points because it only deals with the positive numbers. And so let's actually put the numbers up here on this one. So here's quadrant 1. It's the positive numbers of y and the positive numbers of the x-axis. But this is a number line. After the x intersects with the y-axis, then next thing you know, you've got the negative numbers over here. And same thing with the y-axis. The positive numbers are above x-axis. Below the x-axis on the y-axis is the negative numbers. And this should be review. Okay, so that's the reason I'm just kind of throwing that out there to remind you what it looks like. Let's go plot some points here. Let's see. Let's plot 3, 2, negative 1, 0, 6, 0, 7, 4, and let's do 0, negative 4. Okay, so let's go plot these. Keep in mind that when you write these coordinates, you put a parentheses, set of parentheses around them, and you separate the two numbers with a comma. So that's important. And now let's go name these. Let's call this one A, call this one B, C, D, and E. So now when we go to plot these, we're going to put a little point to represent it, and then we'll write A right beside it. So let's go plot point A. We go to positive 3 on the x-axis because remember, x comes before the y. So we use the x value, the 3, the first number, to go to that spot on the x-axis. So here's at 0, 0. We come over here on the x-axis to positive 3, not negative 3. Here's the negative. We go to positive 3, and then we use the second value, the 2, to decide if we go up or down or if we stay on the line. If it's positive 2, we go up to where the 2 is on the y-axis, and here's my point, and there it is, 3, 2. Now, I don't really want to show that. Instead, I want to not write the coordinates. You can, but I would rather just plot an A right beside that point so we know this is point A. Now let's go do the same with B. B is at negative 1, 0. So since we go to -1 for the x value, we go to -1, and then 0 is the y value. So this is the level of 0 on the y-axis, so we keep it right there on the x-axis. And we just put it there, and then you just write in the b beside it to show this point is point B. C, we would go over to 6, 0. We plot that right here, and we'll just label that as C. 7 is D. Actually, let me erase point C here. And let's expand this to show 7. Okay. And let's go ahead and check that in a little closer there. All right. So let's do C. C is right here at 6, 0. Okay. And we want to do D. So we come over to D, which is 7 for the x value. And then we go up to +4. We put that right there. And now let me just write in this one for C and this one for D. Last one is E. I want to stay at 0 on the x-axis. So here's 0, so I'm already there. And now it says -4 on the y-axis, so I'll come down to -4, and there it is. So now I can just label that one in as E, and we're done. If you can remember all the facts that we had on this page, how to label the 4 quadrants, remember this one's quadrant 3, or Roman numeral 3. That just says that's the region of this Cartesian plane. And if you can remember which axis is horizontal, which one's vertical, and then last but not least the origin, you've got the basics for plotting points.